Here's something it took me years to make peace with. The word Lucifer, and that famous name we've built 1,000 nightmares around, appears exactly one time in the entire Bible. Once. And in the language it was first written in, it wasn't even a name. It was a description of a star.
Wait. One time? I've heard that name my whole life. You're telling me it's barely in there?
Once. Isaiah, chapter 14. The Hebrew behind it is helel, shining one, son of the dawn, the morning star. Centuries later, the Latin translators reached for their own word for that star, Lucifer the light bringer, and the Old English Bibles kept it as if it were a proper name. So this title we treat like the devil's birth certificate. It started as the name of a planet, Venus, glowing at sunrise.
That actually unsettles me, because I've prayed against Lucifer by name, and now you're saying we may have been afraid of a translation.
Hold that thought, because it's deeper than a mistake. Hear me out. Read Isaiah 14 from the top, with no preacher whispering in your ear, and here's what you find. It's a taunt song, a funeral poem, and it's aimed, by name right there in the chapter, at the king of Babylon. God is bearing a proud empire. He's saying, "You thought you'd climb to the heavens. You're going down to the pit with every other tyrant."
So it's about a man. A political king? Not a fallen angel at all?
In its first breath, yes. And I think we lose something precious when we rush past that. The honest reading is that Isaiah is mocking a dead king, but, and this is where it opens up, Isaiah reaches for language that's far too big for any man who ever wore a crown. Listen to what the proud one says in his heart. "I will ascend above the stars. I will sit on the mountain of the gods. I will make myself like the Most High." And that mountain he names, in Hebrew, it's Zaphon, the far north. Now, we've actually dug this up. The peoples living around ancient Israel had a real mountain by that name, up near the Syrian coast, and in their mythology, it was the meeting hall of the gods, their Mount Olympus. We found the clay tablets that describe it, a buried city called Ugarit, unearthed less than 100 years ago.
So Isaiah is using their own mythology against them?
Like a poet who steals the enemy's flag and flies it upside down. He takes the most exalted throne their imagination could picture, the seat of the gods on the holy mountain, and he says, that is exactly the chair this proud one craved, and exactly the chair he will never ever sit in.
I feel that in my bones. There's something about reaching for a seat that was never yours to take.
Then go back and count something with me. In those few verses, count how many times the proud one says, "I will." 5, I will ascend. I will raise my throne. I will sit enthroned. I will rise above the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. 5 times the same small word. I. That's not a list of crimes, Mateus. That's a diagnosis. Pride almost never announces itself as rebellion. It announces itself as ambition.
That's the part that gets me. It doesn't sound like evil. It sounds like a vision board.
Now you're seeing it. And here's where the old church teachers did something careful. They read this, and they read another oracle over in Ezekiel. This one against the king of Tyre. And they noticed the same thing happening. The language overflows the man. You were in Eden. You were the anointed cherub. You were perfect until corruption was found in you. No human king was in Eden. So they paired the two passages, and they remembered what Jesus himself said, that he watched Satan fall like lightning from heaven. And they concluded, behind every proud Babylon, behind every proud Tyre, there is an older pride, the first one.
So which is it, a king or the devil?
To the way I see it, after sitting with this for most of my life, both. And that's the genius of how it's written. Scripture shows you a proud man and lets you see straight through him to the proud spirit that taught him the steps. Pride runs in the family. The human tyrant is the shadow. The fall behind the fall is the devil's. And I won't let you walk away treating this as Bible trivia, because those 5 I wills are not ancient. We just gave them better marketing. Build your own throne. You are your own God. Ascend. Open your phone, scroll for 10 minutes, and count how many times you're told to exalt yourself, brand yourself, climb above the people standing right next to you. The oldest sin in the universe didn't die. It became a content strategy.
That's convicting, because I've felt it. Not in some dramatic, devilish way. Just in the quiet ache of wanting to be seen as more than I am. Wanting to be a little above. I think that's where it always starts, not with a fist raised at God, with a heart that whispers, me first.
And every time. The crash is loud, but the fall is quiet, and it begins with a single I. But hear me out one more time, because this is the part that still moves me after all these years. Morning star, light bringer. That very title Lucifer grasped at and lost. There is exactly one person in all of Scripture who claims it and keeps it. In the last chapter of the Bible, Jesus says of himself, I am the bright and morning star. Do you see it? The glory Lucifer tried to seize by climbing, Christ received by kneeling. One said, I will ascend, and fell into the pit. The other came down, all the way down into a manger and onto a cross, and was lifted to the highest place there is.
So the difference between the two isn't power, it's direction.
It's direction. One reaches up to take, the other bends down to give, and only one of them is still shining.
That's the hope, isn't it? That the throne we were never strong enough to climb to was always meant to be given, not grabbed.
That's the whole gospel in one sentence, Sarah. So here's what I'll leave you with, and I want you to carry it out of here today. You don't have to ascend. You were never built to claw your way up to God. You were built to be lifted by the one who came down. Put down the I will. Let the true morning star rise in you instead. Now, if one line in this stayed with you, drop the word lifted in the comments. I read them and I want to know it landed. Send this to the one person you know who's been climbing and exhausted. They may need to hear that there's another way. And if these conversations feed your faith, stay with us, subscribe, and we'll keep digging together.